All right, so I want to show you guys the price of admission for being a grifter in the outrage space in 2025. And that is being wrong about just about everything and then having to eat crow every single time it happens. Now, I'm going to give Yellowflash a tiny bit of the tiniest bit of credit, but I'm going to explain why it doesn't matter in a few moments. But I'm going to give him the tiniest bit of credit for admitting that he liked the movie in spite of making nothing but negative content about it. I'm kind of shocked, but again, I've said this before with these guys. There's a reason why I can't give them like full credit for changing their mind. There's more to it than that. There's nuance to it. But here is Yellowflash's statement about the Superman movie, James Gunn's Superman. Superman was great, nothing woke, and the immigration thing is BS. It's a fun comic book movie and unapologetically so. It's almost like the fact that Superman is an immigrant has always been a part of his story. So having it in the movie as part of the story, it just works because that is the story of Superman. It's almost like we all said that. And that all of the outrage around that was just dumb nonsense. It was all just outrage barking. At the end of the day, that is the core of who Superman is. So putting that in a Superman movie is never going to feel out of place because it's part of the story. Shocker, surprise. And then he blames James Gunn. He goes, next time, don't get in your own way and say so much dumb shit, James Gunn. He said that Superman is an immigrant and that was going to be a part of the story of the movie. But you didn't feel like it was overtly in your face because, again, that's just Superman. But look, let's take a look at what Yellowflash has done on YouTube, before the movie came out. This is just a few snippets of stuff he's done over the last few days. He just won't stop. Fuck you. Superman director slams Red State fans. James Gunn says, if you have an issue with it, screw off. This is bad. Shit. Red arrow going down. They love that red arrow. James Gunn's Superman review leaks are awful. Movie hit with boycott from salty India fans. Now here's the video where he basically says he was wrong. That he was wrong. And he blames the marketing where they say Superman is an immigrant. And that if people don't like that, they can screw off. He doesn't like that part. Make MAGA cry. Gay reporter baits Superman cast to damage control box office. James Gunn done? And that's not all of them. There's a bunch more. There's a bunch more here. And this is kind of par of the course for these guys. I want to reiterate, they don't know what they're talking about. Ever. 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 Now let's talk about why I can't give Yellowflash more credit for this. That's because these guys start the fire. They're the ones that start the fire. It's their community that does this. This isn't some organic thing that just happens out of nowhere. These guys circulate and propagate all of this stuff. Let me give you guys an analogy here. Imagine that you live in a neighborhood, and in this neighborhood, there's a house at the top of the neighborhood full of a bunch of people, and Yellowflash shows up and starts telling you, hey, the guys in that house, they hate you. They hate you so much. They're bad for the world. They're doing nothing but bad things. They're full of degenerates. They're full of all the worst people you could possibly imagine. And I think that we should burn the house to the ground. He says all of this, and he does it over and over and over again. He comes in your neighborhood every day, 4 or 5 times a day, and says this over and over and over again, that we should go and burn down this house because it's full of the worst people possible. And I know what I'm talking about. I have inside information. I'm the expert. You have to listen to me. I know that you don't know for sure, but I'm telling you this house is awful. And then all of a sudden, everybody starts going up and throwing matches and gasoline on the house. And they just keep burning it and burning it and burning it. And then Yellowflash is like, I'm going to go see what's inside the house for myself. He goes up there, goes through the fire, gets inside the house and finds out, wait, I was wrong. I was wrong. The house isn't full of all this awful shit that I said. Fuck, I was wrong. The house is actually full of some nice people that aren't everything that I made them out to be. So he comes out of the burning house and he's like, hey guys, sorry, Yellowflash here. I actually like the people in the house, and could you please stop burning it down? I know that I told you to do it. I know that I told you to do this because it's full of the worst things possible. But yeah, I like it. So please stop doing that. Could you stop throwing matches? You over there? No more matches. No more. We're good. We're good over here. So this is why I can't give him credit for changing his mind about this, because he started it. The people in his community started this, and they've been talking about it for months and months and months, for years in a lot of cases. There's some stuff they've been talking about for years, doing this for years. So no, I cannot give him any credit for that, because it is all his fault. Now you might say, well, he's doing all of this and it's not going to affect anything. He's done this before and his fans are fine with this. I'm going to show you that they're not. He posted on Twitter, man, some people are mad at me over Superman. Look, I'm not going to lie about it. If you don't like it, that's fine. Here he is trying to do some damage control. You don't even have to watch it. I'm just being honest about how I feel. By the way, I haven't given the movie a score yet, which I would put either a 6.5 out of 10. So this is him doing damage control because he realizes that his base, the people that have been lighting the house on fire, don't want to stop burning the house. Shocker. They don't want to stop burning the house because you have created a community of people who live on outrage and hate. They don't want to hear you say that a movie is good. They don't want to hear you say that you like a movie. That is against everything that you have trained them to be. This goes against all of your previous thoughts and opinions on any of this stuff. You're trying to convince the people in your audience, maybe you misunderstand them, I don't know. You're trying to convince the people in your audience that James Gunn, someone that you have gone after for years, 4 years, that somehow this movie now is really good and they should go and support it. So the issue with this is your fans are going to reject this. The vast majority of them are going to reject this because they're going to go on what you have taught them prior to this. So they're going to reject this, and you're going to find out that the money is not there. And you're going, wait a minute, so the outrage stuff isn't bringing in much money anymore for me. And now I talk positively about stuff that's not going to be bringing in much money for me anymore. What am I going to do? Everyone, this is a good example of why this outrage thing is dying out. This is a great example. We're going to have to watch what happens here, what the switch up is. This is a great example of someone for once going in and enjoying something and then trying to tell their fans who they've taught to hate everything that they shouldn't be so hateful towards it. They should give it a chance. Am I surprised? No, not at all. Yellowflash is a piece of shit, and his entire audience is a bunch of pieces of shit. So they're all infighting about whether or not they should like a Superman movie. And then in some of his comments, he's like, yeah, it's a movie made for kids. It's a family film. Crypto's amazing. Like, this is the kind of stuff this is why it is so dangerous. So dangerous to cultivate outrage prior to something coming out instead of waiting until it comes out and then going in on it. If you want to report on a story, like if a story comes out and there's a legitimate thing to talk about, I've never had an issue with that. I've never had an issue with that. But to pick a side of that and run so hard with it, along with all of the misinformation and disinformation they do, it creates nightmare fuel. It creates people that want to burn the house down. And once they start doing that, once the fire starts, they don't want to stop the fire. So Yellowflash, you and everyone in your space is absolutely responsible for the pushback you're getting on your thoughts on Superman. This is your fault. This is your fire. Don't get mad now because no one wants to put the fire out that you started.